So good evening to you all and welcome to the second in our What Next series. As you may have heard, if you were able to join us for the first session, we are going to be conducting an online workshop on December 7th, which is intended to work with participants to help them outline their strategies for the next 6 to 12 months so that they have clear plans on what they can do in order to earn revenue for their business moving forward. And so as part of the process of getting us ready for that session, what we did, we had a 15-minute session 2 weeks ago with the intention of just introducing you to the topic, with the intention of just letting you know that it's coming and really putting you on the path to start thinking about how you want to be a part of that session and how you want to participate. And with this session now, we are going to take it a little further. This session is going to last for an hour, and it is intended for you to ask any questions if you have them, but really for our business development strategist, Richard Blades, to share with you his insight, his perspectives, and really start us all on that process of thinking about what we need to do, what we need to be considering, what we need to look at in the environment, and what strategies we need to be thinking about, maybe even just what questions we need to ask, what kind of information we need to gather. So this evening, joining me is my co-host, Richard Blades, our business development strategist, and we are going to have a conversation where really we want to start talking about what's going on in the environment now, what businesses are seeing, what's evolving. If nothing else, we know that these are uncertain times, and I know all of you who are here are already aware of that. And it's really to start thinking about, well, in these uncertain times, with the bits of information that we can get, or maybe the flood of information we can get, depending on the level of research you're doing, how can you use that to make your best decisions? So Richard is, as I mentioned, a business development strategist, and Richard really has been in this game now for many years. He can say how many years if he wants to. You know, men don't mind aging themselves, but you know, us women, we like to pretend. So I've known Richard for many years, and for all the years that I've known him, he has always been engaged in that process of looking at organizations and thinking about the kinds of strategies that they should be taking in order to move forward. And I think in these times where there's a lot of information really, and you almost don't even know how to move forward, we really need somebody who has that strategic thinking perspective to put us on the path that we need to go. And so, as always, I have brought a specialist to come and talk about what he knows and what his experience has been. Sir, welcome.
Thank you so much, Marjorie.
You are very welcome.
Yes. Well, good evening, everyone. How are you? What we're going to be doing this evening is going through a number of areas so that these thoughts that I'm going to share with you to be able to help you within your businesses. What is happening is that we are living in very dynamic times, as you can probably imagine. To give you an idea as to how dynamic it is, information that was published last year about businesses has already become obsolete. That's just to show you the speed at which we are really evolving in terms of the business landscape. So what I'm going to do to really briefly is to just find out from you where you are right now in terms of your businesses. If you can just come on, just say where you are, where you want to be, and then I can really quickly do like one of those transformers and figure out things to get you right there really, really quickly. All right? So, don't jump up all at once. We're here to have fun. This is where we make all the mistakes. And if you can just tell me, just introduce yourself really, really quick and tell me where you are, where you want to be, then I'll be able to see if we can chart you a course to get there. So we can go right now. If you take too long, I'm going to call all the names.
So feel free, unmute yourself and go ahead. You can put your hand up. I see, Portia, you are unmuted. Please go ahead. If you are someone who's a little shy and you don't want to speak, you can type your information in the chat. Portia, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
okay, perfect. My name is Portia. My business is Fine Form Caribbean. I am in the very early stages of tying a number of projects together for 2022. What I want to do is feel more sure about that connection between the projects. Let's say I'll give myself a break. Come January the 3rd, 2022. So I am really grateful for this session to find out what questions I need to ask myself, so I know what answers I should be giving myself. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Portia.
Thank you.
Okay, who's up next? Come on, you can raise your hand, open your mic, you can type in the chat.
Some people are going to be a little...
Good evening, everyone. I guess
Go ahead.
I'll go after Portia. So I'm Hayden Blades. I don't think I'm related to Richard, but my father's Barbadian.
It is correct, Hayden Blades.
I'm Trinidadian, but on my father's side, the family is from St. Philip.
Oh, Lord. Look.
Specifically Marley Vale.
Yes,
St.
sir.
Philip.
Keep going.
Yes, just before Bayfield.
So it turns out, sir, that you may be the one he knows.
I gotta check the family vine and see what
But I don't know. Those old guys back then were quite prodigious in their appetites.
Well, I hear you on that, Richard, but you didn't hear that from me. So,
so tell us a little bit about where you are with your business.
So I am running a business called Business Insight Limited. It's really about strategic planning. It's about economic and marketing research. And we also assist, if asked, to design training programs for entrepreneurs and so on and so on and so on. So I'm on the service side. I'm not on the product side. And I am here to really, hear the wisdom, the insight that Marjorie and Richard would like to share with us. I can tell you, living in this pandemic is, as you well know, this is a high level of uncertainty. And in Trinidad right now, our pandemic situation is worsening. We are inundated with the Delta variant, and the numbers don't look good. Our vaccination rate is just about 45%, and I think that is well below where it ought to be. But I think there's such a strong anti-vax sentiment that it's difficult to get, to this herd immunity target and so on. So I'm here to listen, guys. I may run away a bit, but I'm here.
All right. Thank you.
We got a lot of information for you. Yeah,
right,
you're quite busy.
Okay, we have someone who's written in the chat, Richard. You seeing it?
I think so. Rashida? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Administrative personnel and social media marketing. Okay. Good. All right, I got you covered. Yes, we will have you catered to this evening too as well.
All right. And Rashida is operating out of Barbados.
She's in Barbados?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else you want to tell us a little bit about your business? Either to speak or here we have a hand up. Carol, please go ahead. You didn't mean to put the hand up?
Right.
Okay. It was a matter of unmuting now.
Okay. Go ahead.
Carol Ford from Personalize It, operating out of Barbados. We focus on personalized gifts for corporate and personal use. COVID, of course, has made everything totally exciting, but we are here to listen and fine tune our strategies to make things happen in spite of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carol.
All right. Thank you very much. Vaughn, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I was trying to get it unmuted on the phone.
Yeah.
So our company is Details Integrated Solutions Limited. We provide facilities and project management services. We also do a lot of training in that area as well. We're a very small company, now growing. We're looking to see how better we can build brand awareness for our company, as well as getting out there in terms of securing more contracts to expand the company as well. So I'll be interested to get your feedback on how we can achieve that.
Okay, great. All right, perfect.
All right. Thank
Is there
you.
anybody else or not yet?
Anybody else
Couple of
want
faces.
to? Anybody else ready to step up? Say a little bit about your business. Okay, we don't seem to have any other volunteers right now, but you can get started with.
All right, let's start the roll then. All right, I am looking at a couple of things that we have to go here. So you told me where you are and where you're going. You're uncertain as to how you're going to get there, what you need to do in order to get there. These are some of the things that are plaguing you right now, especially since everything is changing so rapidly within this environment. Am I correct? So let's see if we can break it down into a sort of a model, if you can, where we can, if I may, sorry, where we look at the business centers, which are operations, finance, marketing, and legal. Within your operations, you're going to find that now you have a whole lot of displacement in terms of you cannot do business as you once did. There's no coming together to huddle inside an office like you did before. Even when you could do that, even when you can do that now within this environment, there's diminished capacity because you have to space out, so not everyone can be accommodated all at the same time. Saying something about health, right? Health as its widest sense. Okay, I got you, Portia. Right? The thing about it now is that what I am finding as I go around, even before I get into these business center areas, people are tired. They're burnt out. They're frazzled with all of these meetings that are taking place. And I must commend you for taking just one more effort to come into another meeting when you probably might have had several today. A lot of people are all zoomed out. They are all, what's the other one? Hangouts out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and all the other platforms that you could think about. Sitting and having meetings day in, day out, you're actually doing more now and probably receiving less satisfaction in terms of reward because there's no shortage of work as you're finding, but there's a shortage of paying clients. Is that true? Okay, don't jump up all at once. If you, since you can't
type your response in the, you can type your response in the chat.
Just flick your camera.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about it is that I noticed that there are two entities here that are dealing with training. So I'm going to come back there and deal with operations first and foremost. What is happening with operations is that you have to train people if you're going to be in business and you're going to be working with people if your business is so structured. The thing about it is you can no longer have huddles where you have people going away into one spot for training. There's no guarantee that they're going to be coming to any one area for training, like what happened in the past. So now what has got to happen is that you have now got to revamp your training. You have got to start thinking about how do you get maximum information across to people within a time frame that they can understand and apply what they're learning. How can you do it in snippets so that they're saying that you on a computer you can't sit in front of a computer as long as you could have in a regular training room, that the maximum time is really supposed to be 90 minutes. I am here to tell you that I have listened to all of those rules and I've broken them. People can sit down longer than that, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it, because they're equating sitting now with right up there with smoking. So what does that mean? Sitting is bad, and it's going to hurt you if you are so busy trying to get caught up in the activity of work that then you're starting to impact your health negatively, because people are looking at it just now. They want to see you working. They're looking at the physical aspect of you working, but they're not looking at the fact that this thing is affecting you mentally. And that is why, I don't have any psychologists in here this evening because they're probably too busy working, because there's a big thrust now of people going to see psychologists. So what is happening with the training? People, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be such a huge surge of training. It's going to be unbelievable. What is happening right now is that you have people coming out from high school who have never had a vacation job. You're going to have a smashing of people going into first form and finding people who would have gone into first form from the year in front. Up on the upper end, you have people from sixth form who cannot graduate and come out. They have no work experience. They don't know what the world of work is like. They haven't had a vacation job. They haven't had a whole lot of things. They are not mature enough to function in the world of work. So therefore, when you're going through the recruiting process, you are going to have those trainers out here who are like myself. We're going to have a task ahead in terms of helping them to get up to speed quite quickly in terms of being able to fit into the market at the level of peer and above. When I say peer and above, people at their level and above, how do they fit in there? This is not to say that they're not mentally capable of fitting into a working environment, but they just might not have that mental aptitude, the patience, the discipline, and their thought processes are different from the way how some of us would been back in the day. I'm that old. I mean, I've been 18 a couple of times. For a few decades now, I've been 18. But one of the things that you're going to have to do as a trainer when you're looking at operations is to try to convey information to people in a fun way. People tend to learn when they're having fun. That's why I put, like, one of the things that I do from my own standpoint when I'm going to do training is how can I do training in such a way that people can get the information that I'm going to present to them and implement it within a 24 to 48 hour time frame and see results. That's been our tagline for years, so you can't steal it. It's that typo. But
I want to interrupt just for a minute though, Richard, because
sure.
I recognize that you're tailoring it, I think, specifically to the different people who have identified their need. But there may be some here who've not identified their specific needs. So I just wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
Because with that change in training, what we are seeing, some of the research that we have found is that, there's going to be a change to the kinds of jobs that are available. There is going to be need for upskilling, as they move forward, as more things are automated, certain jobs may become obsolete, certain functions that people now maybe build their entire business around may become easier, cheaper, more accessible, or may no longer be such a big thing. Whereas it may take a long time, it takes a shorter time. So the question I'm asking is this: from your research and your experience and your working and so on, what are some of the areas maybe you think people need to start considering in terms of the skills that they need to get?
You see, I thought that this evening was just to whet the appetite, because I've got that information coming on December 7th.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
letting the cat out of the bag. All right, well,
yeah. I don't want to do that.
give us just one. What is one of the skills that maybe you're seeing a lot of that people are going to need to?
There's not just one because there's so
Okay.
the market is so dynamic.
Mhm.
It's not just one thing that's going to stand out. It's going to be a number of things, and it's going to have like that sort of interlinkage. Because why? You are having a situation right now where there is an all-time high of organizations emerging, and we're using that word loosely around because of entrepreneurship. So what is happening is that you are having entrepreneurs coming out who some will be professional, who would just it would just be their business would be limited to them. They would be the business. Then there are others who are going to come on out and they're going to be growing a business where they have to be recruiting other people and bringing them in, but they have to have that knowledge, skill set, or know how to do certain things. Like for example, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there are some things that are going to have to come to the fore in terms of how we operate. Like, for example, collaborations. Before you had a business, you would keep everything that you're doing in-house. You try to do things on your own. But now you've had such a displacement of people. You can't have everything in-house anymore. So you've got to learn how to collaborate with people, how to network with people, how to come together and do projects on it. You've got to do the work of some larger entities at a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time through networks and things. Now remember, one of the caveats that I do when I'm going to network with people is that I tell them start a business and come. What I mean and why do I do that? Because then they have to maintain their own reputation too as well. You understand? You're not going to come and write on a reputation that I worked so hard to build over the years. And if you mess me up, do it twice, the first and the last, right? And this is something that you have to put these sorts of things in place to keep people accountable. What is happening now in terms of the job market is something that started happening in the UK. That's why you saw so many people in the UK started working from home some time back. They would go online instead of having to go down here like us to Kaipo and jump on their they would jump on their computers, incorporate a business, and then they function providing services to other larger businesses as a business, so that then those businesses that they're working with and for don't have the statutory compliance and everything like that, like what is happening here still, where you have all the unions and all that. They transitioned from that long time. Unions in some of those other areas have become obsolete, and what the unions have done, they have not recognized that what they should be doing now is representing entrepreneurs. So to ensure that entrepreneurs get a fair pay, that they get paid on time, right? Once upon a time, as I tweeted just recently, you could have done work for government, and people say, "Oh, when you do work for government, the pay is late, but it's sure." Only 50% of that is true right now. It is going to be late. There's no guarantee it will be sure. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you've got to evolve your thinking to things like you have got to live locally but work globally in an internet setting where your laptop is your office, your mobile, you can go anywhere. If you want to change your environment, you just decorate your van differently and you move, or decorate your vehicle differently and you move. You understand? So these are the sorts of things that you have got to consider nowadays, even as you move into a new dispensation. So I was talking about operations, but then finance, for example, I have got finance houses calling me saying that they want business. Do I have anybody that I can send to them who needs funding? And it's weird. You would think that the market is depressed and all that sort of thing. They wouldn't want business, but they recognize too that their money sitting in their vaults is not earning them any money. So therefore, they want things that are going out there that can earn them money. Now, what's happening is that gone are the days where people would have a good business idea, walk in the bank and say, "Well, I got an idea here. I got a little piece of land here, and I want to invest it." in a business, you could hold as collateral. People have taken their money in the past, put it into education. So right now you have people who are well researched, they have the information that they can use to start businesses. They take the time to hire professionals and all of that, yet still the banks want to then, and the finance houses want to look at collateral. Where is the collateral? It's already taken up in the education of people who are now coming more prepared, but yet still their preparation is not being recognized. Right? I'm seeing some ticks coming up here on the chat. You're gonna have to monitor them for me, please, Marjorie, because I can't
Will do.
at the same time. That's like walking and chewing bubble gum. But then in terms of the marketing, some people here are saying that they have to do marketing. People, you know, we have got so many marketing specialists now. You got people that know more and more about less and less to know everything about nothing. And what marketing? I mean, I did marketing, but I don't want to do everything to I don't want to be everything to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing comes down to 2 words: people, gypsy. All you've got to do is, when you distill it down to that, find out what it is that people want to find out about any particular entity. Help them get that information, and you will be a huge success. What is it that people want to know about you? Too many businesses are walking around the place keeping their business as top secret. Too many little entities are coming out saying they don't want anybody to steal their idea. They have not yet been exposed to enough of that information to know that when you get an idea in the universe, somebody else also gets that same idea. The difference is who is going to work on it first, who is going to get it out first, because like it or not, it's you or somebody else that idea is going to market. If it wasn't me here today, it would be somebody else sitting right here, maybe not in this chair, but in this particular session, sharing information with you. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and they might not even be from Barbados. That's the whole thing. Opportunities are abound everywhere. So you can't just limit yourself to any one country. Back in the days prior to COVID, what I used to do is that when things were slow in the Southern Caribbean, I'd be up in the Northern Caribbean working. Right? Why? And it's nice. You know, it's different. Even though the Caribbean is small, it's different. In the Southern Caribbean, people want to pay you 50% or pay you after the work is done. In the Northern Caribbean, they pay you 100% up front and then you do the work. Right? The difference in mindset is unbelievable, even though we are all people. I've had instances where I've been paid 100% up front before I even started to do the work. You know, it's like, oh, Richie, the money is going to hit your account. Boom. I see the money hit my account, then I start work. And it's like, yes, I like those clients. What happens? They get preferential treatment. They could call me 3-4 times a year. I'll be there. Right? They get top priority. And they pay US dollars. It's nice. Well, except for when you go Cayman. You know, you don't want dollars then. You want Cayman dollars. Because the US dollar is only worth 80 cents over there. So, yeah. Then there's legal. A lot of people are not paying attention to their legal. So therefore, what is happening with regards to their branding, their trademarks, their, you know, all kinds of things like that. Intellectual property is what allows you to make money while you sleep. Plain and simple. So what is it that you're going to be doing with legal? Why are we not yet learning, for all the education that we have, why haven't we learned to negotiate? It's a skill that is sadly lacking among people. Somebody comes to you and say, oh, you know, I could do that for you for $1,000 for 15 minutes. And you're like, okay. You go, I can't afford it. Or you go, okay, here's a check. No one negotiates here. You try that in one of those Latin American countries or Latino countries, for example, everybody's going to negotiate. They say, you know what, I could tell you what, I don't have 1,000, but I've got like 750. They're going to start there and come up, and they expect you to start from your 1,000 and come down. Right? And then you find a happy ground, a happy medium somewhere. So what is it that we got to do in this environment? We have to learn about other people's cultures. If you have people coming in here with a visa with a work travel stamps, they're going to bring elements of their culture here. You are going to be a service provider that have to provide services for them. What are you doing? How are you interacting with them? How are you ensuring that you are top of mind in their minds? These are some of the things that you've really seriously got to consider and know how you're going to do it. When you're coming around now, one of the things that is going to be vitally important if you want to get in business and stay in business is cash flow. What direction is your cash flowing in? All too often, we are looking at financial statements like the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statements, but they are periodic. You want to learn how to do managerial accounting or management accounting so that you can keep up to the second information as to how your business is performing. And you don't want to wait till you're at the end of the storm and then find out that you're way off course. What is your business doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What's your traveling rate during the course of the month for making money? Do you know that? Do you know that based upon how much money you've made already for the month, if you're working a 22 work day month, if you're working Monday to Friday, that's 22 work days. If you're working Monday to Saturday, that's 26 work day month. Do you know that? And then how do you calculate your traveling rate so you know what your revenue should be if you project it out for the rest of the month? Do you know those sorts of things? Do you know what your costs are? Do you know what your industry average is going to be for your particular industry so that you can ensure that you are keeping in touch and with what your pricing is going to be? Don't go and say, well, he down there, he charging this amount, so I can undercut him. His economies of scales might be very different from yours. You have got to know what your economies of scale are going to be for producing. How can you then be competitive and produce at a level that you make profit? What I find is that too many small businesses don't want to make profit. I just wrote an article that was quite recently. I think I have it on one of the media outlets that we do have. And what I saw, it was in a Daily Nation, page 14, one of those teen numbers. It was a little teeny bopper that had like 3 articles on the same page showing the how these companies were making profit. I looked deeper into the article and I was like, what are the metrics that they are using to determine their profitability? So were they using things like gross profit and all that sort of thing and net profit? No, they were going all the way right down to earnings per share. All these things that we just learned to get a grade, and then when we come out, we don't use that information to get paid.
All right, so hold on. Richard,
go ahead.
Richard, so hold on. So you're sharing a lot of information with us now, and you are making some clear suggestions, whether you realize it or not, about the skills that people who are running businesses need to have and about the things that they need to focus on. Because you've mentioned in there that you need to be paying attention to cash flow, not just looking at the statements, but you need to be knowing it on a daily basis. You need to have it top of mind if you are running your business and you're going to make it successful. You've also mentioned that you need to have a good understanding of managerial accounting because of that, for that reason, so that you can keep track and you can do it for yourself and you're not just waiting if the accountant comes in at the end of the year or you're getting ready for taxes, but that you know it all the time. And yes. Now you've gone on really and you are saying to us that we need to have a different perspective in terms of how we measure our profit.
Yes. One of the things that needs to happen that most small businesses do not have is a dashboard for their business. We need to start picking examples from other vehicles. If you get in a car, you're going fast, you can't tell the police officer, well, it felt like I was only going at 50. And he's like, no, sir, you're doing 110. You understand? You've got to know what was on your dashboard so that you can know how your performance is going, how fast you're going. Can you control your vehicle at that sort of speed? Because there is something in business called growing too fast. And there are some businesses that grow too fast. I've seen one that grew so fast during the pandemic that it imploded. They could not keep up with the demand. They did not have the systems in place, and then they crumbled. So then what happened is that they had a whole lot of people who were dissatisfied with the service and did not want to use them again as a consequence, right? So these are some of the things that you really need to be aware of. Uh, you want to have controlled growth. You need to know what is your performance. What do you want? Remember, not all business is good business. Do you know who your competitors are so you can probably outsource to some of these people, the lower end of the spectrum? I know other people who are coming into the field of business development. What I do, I cannot. It's like born from cricket. You cannot make runs staying in the crease all the time. You've got to get out of the crease. So are you going to pass some business on to somebody else who might not be entering and then move on? It leaves you room to go and get business that functions at a higher level. We cannot keep all for ourselves. And all too often, people in business are trying to keep everything for themselves and rather than help somebody else out, right? Are you helping somebody else to grow? Are you mentoring somebody else in business? Help somebody else so that you can actually take a vacation and go away. Why not do collaboration so that when you go on vacation, you come back, you have business. One of the fastest things, I was just telling somebody that either today or yesterday, one of the fastest ways to get business is to decide that you're going on vacation. Because you're a small business person, people get on like you're not going to come back. They think you're going to die. So then what happens is that everybody wants their things done before you go on vacation. And, funny enough, believe it or not, they come and they pay. They said, I want this year done. Can you do it? And they pay the money. You'll be there all year long and they wouldn't come, but then you decide you're going on vacation. You just think it and they come and book you. So I'm going on vacation next month. That's my story. Sticking with it. You got to get Christmas money. But you think it's going to come on in, and you've been there all year, and nothing was happening. It's weird. So I got to the stage once I found that out, and that's a little secret. But I started taking like 3 vacations a year, so that you got
the business will come in. The business will come in as soon as they hear you're going on holiday.
Yeah, and then you know what? And then when you come back, you don't take a very long holiday, so that when you come back, you've got money waiting on you. Yeah. Right?
Can we, sorry, I'm interrupting again, but can we talk a little bit about the collaboration aspect? Because I think what you've mentioned there is a really important point. It may not be so for those who are here with us, but for many business owners, they think that the business that's coming at them, that once you have it, you have to hold on to it. So the thought of giving it to somebody else because it's considered lower returns and go off and try to find higher return is not a natural instinct that comes to a lot of business owners. So
and that's probably remain at the same level.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to ask. So what does it take to shift a person's mindset so they get there? A recognition of what?
Help them raise their fees. When you there? When you raise your fees, what happens is that you can have every year. I call the bottom 15% of my market. And pass. Okay. I don't just call them and leave them there. I pass them on to somebody else who is going to be coming into the market. Right? It's the only way that you can grow, because why? You've got more experience now. You've got so much more to offer. Why not go where the business is that can benefit from your expertise?
Okay.
Remember, it's a cycle of life. Somebody's going to get old, and that, like, who's going to replace Carl Williams? Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Nature abhors a void. Who's going to replace him? When Richard Branson goes, replace him. Who's going to replace Elon Musk? We have got to prepare ourselves. We've got to read their stories. How many people have read the stories of successful people in Barbados? I was just talking to a writer recently. It was on the weekend. And I was telling them that they need to get out there, meet these people who are in business, the entrepreneurs, and get their stories and get them published. Because finance houses are going to funding follows people who have stories to tell. It's weird, but it's true. So you get your story out there, people are going to come and fund you. Because, you have a story. You're showing something that people are interested in, people are they want to follow, they want to get that sort of information on. The other thing too is that when you do collaborations, like I was mentioning earlier, you do deals. You can do business at a level that you could not do on your own. It's always better, and this is one of the policies that I live by. It is always better to make 1% of a million than 100% of 1,000. If you think about it, 1% of a million, I mean, just do the math. You do that 10 times a month. That's not too bad, right? I did, structured deals. I have done programs where rather than walk around the place and say, "Oh, I'm a consultant, so there my fees are X amount per hour." No, I create packages so that small businesses can come do business with me. Because if I say that you're so much and so much per hour, the last 15 minutes of that hour, they're hearing nothing that you're saying. They're making sure that you didn't go over into the next hour. You understand what I'm saying? And therefore, you want to give them information that they're participating, they're in there, they can go away, do things, and then they book you and come back to you within that same month. Sometimes I've found that people have come and booked me 3 times, 4 times within a month because of the fact that you created deals. And then if you've got extrapolate that out by 10 people making deals with, participating in those sorts of deals, what's going to happen is that you're going to still achieve your financial goals. You understand? Then I spoke about the training methodologies. Oh, networking. We're too passive in networking. Straight up. Too passive. We think that networking is like, okay, I want to add you to my network. And then once they're there, then that's it. They're going to automatically do business with you. What is it that you're doing that is of value that people are going to want to do business with you? That they'll even remember that who you are after clicking that button that says that they're now connected to you. Have you then gone back to them and said, well, have you looked at my website? I would like to introduce you to my website so that you can see what it is that I do, just in case. It might not be you, but in case you're in a conversation, you hear somebody who can use my services, well, then, I'm available to assist your whoever it is that you know. What are you doing to be top of mind? Are you blogging? Are you writing articles? Are you doing a newsletter? Remember, marketing, people gypsy. If you don't have a time to write a lot of stuff, can you write short snippets? Like what happens to Twitter is a micro blog. Are you doing those sorts of things just to keep relevant? People get to observe your thinking, your mode of thinking, and know what it is that you're doing, so that in the final analysis, you are in their minds as to, something. This is a person of competence and of repute that I would want to do business with. Most of my business is passive business. Up to today, I mean, my phones were ringing off the hook. Was all of it good business? Not all. But this brings me to my next point. Who is your qualified customer? Do you have a list of qualifications for what your ideal client customer is going to be? What is their income level? What jurisdictions do they live in? How do they pay? Do you know how fast they pay? What do you know about your customers? Can any of you tell me that what kind of volume that they order on a weekly, daily, monthly basis? Do they order like once a quarter? Are you prepared for when their business is coming in? Are you able to send reminders like you did business with us last year at this time? Therefore, I'm just checking to see, what are going to be your needs this year? How is this pandemic treating you? How many people have called their customers to find out how the pandemic is treating them? How many of you, when you get paid by check, take a picture of your check and then go through the map of Google and see where most of your business is coming from within a particular territory? All of that is market research that you have available to you for free. It's just an investment of time as opposed to an investment of money. Any questions?
All right. Any questions from our audience? Remember, you can type it into the chat, or you can put your hand up and open your mic and ask your question. But I really like that last one that you mentioned there, Richard, about the fact that, there is a lot we can do with Google that perhaps we aren't thinking about. So look at where the majority of your businesses is coming from in a particular territory and so on. That's a good one. I also liked where you'd mentioned earlier that sometimes we need to look at international markets. So we shift the focus, not just the market that we are living in, because you talked about the fact that you have, you as a practice, you have been someone who would normally work in the Southern Caribbean for a while, but if business was slow, then you would move on to working in the Northern or pursuing opportunities in the Northern Caribbean. And I think that that's something that we need to have more as an orientation. And I don't think a lot of us as business owners have that. We have the market that we know, the one that we're comfortable with, and that's the one that we stick in. We don't really think about looking externally. We think about it as a nice idea, but we don't really set ourselves up to pursue it in an active way. I'm not seeing any questions come in. Thank you, Francis, for joining us for the time that you could.
For some of the people who, if I can just go on, then if there are no questions.
Doesn't seem to be any at this time.
If most of the people only think about overseas when they're going on vacation. So when they go on vacations, why don't you look for business in whatever market that you go in? All it takes is going out, then you collect a few business cards, and you get back to wherever you're staying, jump on the internet and make contact with the people. Hey, it's great to meet you today. I'm still going to be here in town for another few days. Would you like to get together for a cup of coffee before I head on back out? Oh no, well, guess what? Now we've got the metaverse, so you can have the virtual cup of coffee, where you're protected from COVID, and then you can go on back to wherever, get on with life, but you now have a business contact within that jurisdiction that you can do business with. People who are in small business are probably into manufacturing. They can, if they're in New York, why not meet somebody? Because everybody goes to New York from all over the globe. So you go to some place that you might be into packaging. Why don't manufacturing something? Sorry. Why don't you go to the packaging places and find out where they get their packaging from? You just might meet somebody that you can do business with internationally. Have the people in New York broker the deal in terms of the introductions and the transshipment points, the drop shipping, and from there your business grows with very, very little effort.
We have a question coming up. Sorry, we have a question coming up in the chat that actually relates to what you were talking about in terms of making contact. So given where we are now with COVID and so on, we have this question here, all those COVID-19 contact information, how can business owners look at that info and pull out useful business information? Okay,
now one of the things I told you about was the checks, right? The checks of people who are paying you. Another one is we go on campus, we got people coming at us and studying alongside us for years from University of West Indies, Barbados Community College and all that sort of thing. Do we get to find out about them and keep contact with them on the social media? We're using Facebook to send around jokes and all that sort of thing, but are we keeping contact with business and looking at people's business pages and saying, listen, you're up here for a reason. You're telling us about your business. I think I can do some business with you. You got to do something that I call crabbing. And I call it crabbing because if crab don't walk around, you don't get fat. Yeah. And, there was a time that I used to go crab on the West Coast. And you pull in and you see people that you worked with before in the hotels when I used to do internships. And like, how are you doing? And they're like, fine. They said, what are you doing now? And I said, well, it's funny you should ask. Right? You tell them what you're doing. They had a need. They said, well, we were looking for somebody who does exactly what you're doing. Really? And then from there, the conversation goes. And then the next thing, within a couple hours, you have an agreement in their hands. You say, sign here, press hard, second copy is yours. And then they have a check in your hand. Right? Mm-hmm. But you didn't know. If you didn't go out there, you wouldn't have known. You understand? And these are the things that you really have to deal with. Go ahead. You can ask me a question.
Well, I was going to say, specifically though, with regards to the information that businesses collect for the COVID-19 contact information, I'm not sure how much of that business owners can actually use, because there's a real concern a lot of people have about privacy and invasion of privacy and so on. So I think the agreement and understanding is you're taking like their basic contact information, and it may not be possible for you to just take it and then use it for business purposes. But perhaps on the form that you're asking them to complete, you can have a box that they tick to ask if they're willing to be added to your mailing list. And if they tick it and they opt, because that then is an opt-in. If they say yes, they're willing to be added to your mailing list, then you can add it. But I don't think you can do it without asking.
What I'm saying about the checks is that you then know from the checks, you're not going to write somebody from a checking address.
Yeah.
You're just going to plot on the map where your business is coming from.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. Because I go into restaurants every now and again, and you will see date, time, name. Nobody bothers to write out the whole long address now. So that column is now parish and telephone number.
Correct.
And I'm thinking, if your business is in Christchurch, are you looking back at and see how many people from St. Michael you've got, how many people from St. Philip you've got? Although you're in Christchurch, how much of your business is really from Christchurch? In the morning, in the afternoon, in the peak time,
exactly.
evening, in the weekend. Is it that the other people only come to Christchurch to work, and therefore on the weekend, when you look on your list for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you don't see them? That's the kind of manipulation, really, of information. I was wondering how could business owners use that to benefit?
Well, what's going to happen, Portia, is that as you are looking at the information and you're taking it down, you're going to also identify, is it business or personal? So then you are looking at your marketing campaigns. Is it geared towards B2B or B2C? You follow?
Yeah, I follow.
Yeah? And then which part of the island are they coming from? Are they central of the island? Are they coming from all over? Where are and you start to, this is a bit of information that you're going to start to plot on a spreadsheet, so that it's not that you're going to be writing them and making contact with them. You don't have the time to do that. But you want to know that when you are looking back at your information, where you're going to target your market, where you're going to spend your marketing dollars to target the areas that are doing business with you, so that you get growth and you get traction within the market.
In a lot of these places too, there's some sort of security camera in front of it, and I think you can use that to gauge whether, well, maybe not so much for the girls, but more for the fellas. You can kind of use that to gauge what age range they're in. And when we go back to some semblance of normal C, D, E, F, G, or Z, then you'll have an idea of how you could possibly plot your advertising and marketing campaigns to suit what age group, demographic, kind of thing.
What a lot of small businesses are doing too as well is that when people come and do business with you, they try to get you to take pictures of yourself, put it up in your social media using their product or service. And then that kind of tells the business, once they start to track where you're coming from. You understand? How many of us up here have our businesses listed on the internet saying where we are located and at least where we're going? Because some people might want to keep it quiet because for reasons of privacy, as you said, Marjorie. But then for other people, their office might be their shoes. So it's wherever they're doing business is wherever they are at the particular point in time, because they're mobile. Right? How do you put that sort of information up there? Like, I don't meet people in my office. It's a waste of time. I go to coffee shops when things are up and going. A couple of reasons. You also meet additional people because they see you out there meeting with somebody, and it's like, I want to see you. They mouth that to you. I want to see you. It's like, Rick, give me a card. Okay, we talk later. Or the nowadays now they got these apps that you can send it. They can send the details to your phone just by close to you. So you have that sort of information going. So now it's COVID. We've got to coexist with COVID. So it's like within the COVID environment, you're not going to see people where you're getting that close to go and shake hands and take cards because that is COVID. But what are your online details? Can you send it to me real quick? Sure. And you got cards now that instead of giving to hand, you keep the card, but you just tap the person's phone and the details go onto the other person's device.
Yeah.
Understand?
All right. So, sir, we have 5 minutes remaining.
For real? Already?
Yes, sir.
I'm interested in that business card you talked about.
Yeah, they're advertising all over the internet right now, where you just, all your details are on there and you tap the person's phone and they have the details.
Well, what do you call them? What do I look for?
No, you done it.
Okay.
No, that's not what it's called. I mean, I remember the name of it. So
I think she got it. She got that. That you didn't write off. Remember that. All right. So, well, you think about that though, Richard, and what we will do, we can always post it on the event page so that people can come back and look for it. So you at least will still be able to get the information. So in our remaining, because now it's no longer 5 minutes, it's 3 minutes now. In our remaining 3 minutes, what would you like to say to our audience as one thing, two things that they should look at, focus on, remember?
Let me tell you this. I didn't expect that this hour will go by so quickly, and
it often does.
So much information to share with you on December 7th that now is got me wondering if I can be able to share it all. So I may have to create a toolkit so that if I don't get all covered within the session, at least you have the material that you can refer to, because I've got already a ton of information. So and it's useful information. It's exciting. I don't do boring workshops and webinars. So come on through, enjoy yourselves, and make some money as soon as you leave, or during your time there. But if you have questions between now and then, by all means, make them known to Marjorie, so that then I can get them and I can address them within the confines of the webinar, so to ensure that you get your feedback right away, so that you can go on out and do things. Now, on the service side of the business, I'm going to cover some of these things that you would have told me here. So I'm going to cover things like what questions to ask. Some of you would need to learn how to handle things like objections when business owners are giving you objections like from clients, etc. How to handle those sorts of things. Carol, with your gifts, you should be doing the Juve right now, because you should have a program on showing people how they can maintain contact with their clients through the use of memorabilia. Yes, sir? They should be placing some serious orders for you now, especially now coming up to the holidays. One, thinking about you as we become a republic. Two, thank God for the first Christmas of the republic. So we're thinking about you. There's two things that's happening this year: republicanism, and oh gosh, what's the other one? I got my tongue in a twist with that first one. But republicanism and pandemic Christmas.
Pandemic Christmas. Okay.
Pandemic Christmas, yes. So how are we got to live through these two things? These are life-changing experiences that no one in our lifetime or outside of our lifetime will probably never experience together again. So how do we do that? And so make 2020 memorable. Because next year, yes, I know I said 2020 because next year is 2022. This one is 2021. Next year is 2022. So I'm just playing on it. So how can how can we make it memorable, so that anytime, I don't know what we're into 2030, but when that comes up, those years come up, people be careful about how to talk about 2020 vision and any other thing else that they might put for any other years down the line, so they don't repeat this sort of thing. Fortunately, pandemics, they run to about 2020. They run about 5 years, so this one's going to run. Since if you look at history, this one is going to go down to about 2024. So everything that you have to do, the protocols have been working in terms of social distancing, in terms of wearing the mask and all that, even if you don't have a vaccine. So why not stick to doing those, but make it seem vogue so your customers will come on in and not endanger your business people, your teams, and so you can remain open, remain viable, continue to do business, make money, and be able to keep the economy turning over in spite of this pandemic. Those are some of the things. Yeah, I think shoot, I've gone over. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
You know, those are the sort of takeaways I want you to have. I want you to not only come on December 7th, but invite somebody else. Because you know what? If you can bring like each of you can bring like 2-3 people, why? The information is going to be there. It's going to help. It's going to help you. And if you want, if you're a person that didn't do it because you want to be kind, well, do it because you're selfish. Do it so that they won't come and break in your house when the night comes, because they're making their own money. You understand? And that's just how you got to look at it. Help somebody. I am going to be getting a lot of information ready for you. It's going to be exciting. I want to see you there.
All right. Thank you very much. So you've heard it. Our session is What's Next? Moving Beyond the Now. It's taking place on December 7th. Starts 9:30 a.m. It runs for 3 hours. And the intention is for it to be practical. So what Richard has done, he started talking to you specifically about what will apply to your business, how you can use the information in order to make changes and take steps towards making growth in your business. So register for the event. The fee to attend is Barbados $100 or US $50. The registration deadline is December 1st, because we want you to get everything sorted and payment and so on organized ahead of the workshop. As I mentioned, it is going to be taking place December 7th. It's practical. Come with your questions so that you can ensure that you are getting the specific information you need for your business. What we started here tonight is really just a beginning to give you some insight to what you need to start thinking about and the kinds of questions that you should come with for that session. So we hope to see you then. You can go now, if you wish, to the event on the Breakthrough Performance Coaching page. We've put the event up. You can register now, and we will then reach out to you to get payment sorted and so on. But we really look forward to seeing you, because we believe we have to take action in order to thrive in spite of the fact that we are going through this pandemic. So what are you going to do in order to earn revenue for your business in the next 6 to 12 months? Come and work with us on December 7th and make some clear decisions about how you want to move forward.
Just
Look forward to seeing you then.
December 7th or 2nd?
The 7th.
Perfect, thanks.
The day that comes after the 6th.
Perfect.
So thank you very much for that, letting me know that I wasn't saying it clearly enough. So it is the 7th of December. We start at 9:30 a.m. Look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. You can follow my page on LinkedIn, Breakthrough Performance Coaching, just to keep in touch with us and to see the additional information as we share it with you, as we prepare for that session. So take care. Have a very good evening, and I will see you December 7th.